Welcome. We're going to give it another few moments to see if anyone else is going to join us. Okay, well, we definitely want to keep things on time, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for All Virginia Students, sponsored by the Virginia Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admission Counselors and StriveScan. Thank you so much again for joining us today. A few housekeeping announcements before we go ahead and get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to presenters at any time. You'll find that on that bottom Zoom panel. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of the many different sessions happening, so please be sure to check out the full schedule at strivescan.com/Virginia. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at that same website. All right, well, I would like to now turn it over to our presenters.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for participating in the VACRAO Virtual Fair. And we're going to share some information with you about private institutions. And are they affordable? I'm going to say yes, we are affordable. So I would like to introduce our panel, and we have some awesome resourceful help that we're going to be able to help you guys with. So we have Megan from Mary Baldwin. We have Tracy Harrison from Emory and Henry. We have Tanisha from Excelsior. We have Autumn, and we have myself, Shannon Valerie from St. Andrews University. So let's go ahead and get started, and we can share some awesome information with you. State and private funding. Most of you guys probably think that because a school is a private institution, they may not offer a lot of resources for you. Well, let me share with you that we do offer resources for you. State funding is based on individual colleges and universities, and basically it's also based on need. So private and state, it differs for different schools. So depending on your need, basically it will depend on how much aid that you would be able to get. Next one.
Hi, everybody. I'm Megan Speth. I'm the Director of Financial Aid at Mary Baldwin University, and I'm going to jump into some of the federal things that you can look for. Just because you're going to a private school doesn't necessarily mean that you have to skip over the federal piece of that. Federal funding works at private schools just like it does public schools. So the first thing is going to be filing the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. And I know you all have probably heard of this. I know you've probably seen something about it. So I'm just going to do a couple of quick tips in order to do it. You can do it on your phone. There's an app. The easiest thing is to have your parent with you, and for the FAFSA for next fall to have your 2019 tax information and your parents' 2019 tax information. The other thing that comes with filing the FAFSA is the piece that you want to make sure that you connect that, and you've got it listed on there, your FSA ID or your federal student aid ID. You want to connect it to an email address of yours that you can still get to. So a school email address is probably not the best option. Maybe a Gmail account, Yahoo, something like that. And it is going to be your login for the FAFSA all 4 years. So you want to make sure that you can still get to it in case you forget your password. I, of course, have never forgotten a password, but if you do, you want to make sure you can get back to that standpoint. What the FAFSA will do is take your household information and your family's financial information. So yours, if you've worked and filed taxes, and then your parents' family financial information, and calculate what's called an EFC, or expected family contribution. And those schools you list on the FAFSA will get that information sent to them. So you can list up to 10 schools on the FAFSA, and if you're applying to more, you can take some schools off and add some schools on. It doesn't hurt anything. But that's how the private institutions and the public institutions will use that information to calculate different types of grants and loan funding. I'm ready for the next one. All right, so we talked about grant funding. That's something that the FAFSA can help us provide. So the first one, and you may have heard of this too, is called a federal Pell Grant. Grants are great. G, grant, G, great. because they're free money. They're money that's given to you, whether these are federal grants or by a state entity or even an institution, that you don't have to pay back. It's just money that you get based off of certain qualifications. With the Pell Grant, it's based off of that expected family contribution, and it's just some money from the Department of Education to help you pay for school. Once you file the FAFSA with your information, you'll get kind of like a confirmation page like you'd get for anything else. And you will get that what's called a student aid report. And if you qualify for a federal Pell Grant, that'll be on your student aid report, and that information will go out to the schools that you send the FAFSA to. The next one is, we call it the SEOG grant, which is kind of redundant because it's the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, SEOG, that's listed there, and it's more free money. So while the Pell Grant is going to be the same amount at any school that you go to, SEOG grant funding depends on the school that you go to. Some schools offer $500 in SEOG grant funding up to $4,000 in SEOG grant funding. It's just a different type of federal grant based off of that estimated family contribution information to help you pay for school, to help make school a little bit more affordable. All right. Okay, so the next federal thing that can come from the FAFSA is federal work study, and it's called different things, different places. Here at Mary Baldwin, we call it student employment. Sometimes it's called just work study. Typically what happens with that is it's jobs on campus. Usually there are some maybe out in the community, it'll depend on the school, but typically jobs on campus to help you earn money for that. And it is also based off of that expected family contribution. That's why that FAFSA is so important. They're part-time jobs. And one of the goals with federal work study is for you to be able to work and also attend class. That's one of the benefits of a campus job versus an outside job, is that it's going to be on campus at your institution that you go to. So everybody's top priority is your academics. Some schools will give you a check every 2 weeks. So if you have a job right now, some schools will do the same thing where you'll get a paycheck every 2 weeks. You log hours just like you would anywhere else, and then you get that paycheck every 2 weeks. While other schools will actually just take that money and put it towards your tuition. So as you're looking at schools and you're starting to try and figure out what's going to be a good fit for you, if you're interested in work study, that's a good question to ask, is whether that school gives you a paycheck and then you can turn around and pay tuition with it, or use it to buy things you need. I always use shampoo as an example, some of those outside things, or if it's going to be something that goes directly towards your tuition. But it's another resource available to you to help finance your education.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tracy Harrison, and I am the Associate Director of Admissions at Emory and Henry College. So to go along off of FAFSA, you're going to have federal loans that are available either as a student loan or as a Parent Plus loan. So student loans are going to get divided between either a subsidized loan or an unsubsidized loan. And pretty much the biggest difference is going to be your subsidized loan is not going to be accruing interest while you're a student, while the unsubsidized loan continues to accrue interest. For both of the student loans, payments are deferred until 6 months after you graduate or stop being a full-time student. And like I said, this is something that is available to students. As long as you file FAFSA, then the federal student loan option is available for you as a student. There is not a credit check tied into student loans. The only requirements through the website, thestudentaid.gov, is to complete a loan counseling and to sign your master promissory note. After that, Fed Loan Services will communicate with the college's financial aid office to make sure that those funds are released to the college to go towards your student tuition. For Parent Plus loans, this is an additional option that would be a loan taken out in the parent's name. It does require a credit check. They give you the option for a cosigner. But if for some reason your parent or guardian is denied the Parent Plus loan, then $4,000 per year will be added to your student unsubsidized loan. So this is a good option to take. Again, you don't have to start making payments. You can start making payments while you're a student, but everything for federal student loans and for the Parent Plus loan, payments are deferred until that 6 months after you graduate.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tanisha Miles, and I'm with Excelsior College. And I'm just going to speak with you briefly about outside scholarships and other military benefits that you all can apply for in addition to the federal financial aid, your federal loans, and work study opportunities. Next slide. So if you're using your military benefits, and these benefits can be used for anyone that is serving in active duty, on the reserve side, or a veteran, you can apply for your tuition assistance. Montgomery GI Bill Chapter 30, Post 9/11 Chapter 33, and other scholarships. With the tuition assistance, that's more so going to be for your active duty members. So unless you're on active duty orders, or if you're a traditional reservist, you'll be able to apply for those tuition assistance benefits. With everything, I'll always say, make sure that you're going to speak with your military rep as well as your college of choice veterans office. The Montgomery GI Bill works a little bit, Chapter 30 works different because those benefits comes monthly, and what will happen is you'll get a monthly check sent to your account. At that point, you'll be responsible for sending those funds to your institution. With the Post 9/11 Chapter 33, what's going to happen is you'll be able to get a monthly book stipend in addition to a monthly stipend. Again, you'll have to apply for your benefits, and those benefits will be determined by your VA rep. Next slide. So in addition to your military benefits here at Excelsior College, there's different partnership opportunities, transfer credits, and scholarships. If you're a partner, what that means is that your financial aid, you'll get a tuition discount off of the tuition rate. Your application fee will be waived. You'll also have an opportunity to earn additional credits to save with the cost of your college benefits. You can transfer up to 30 credits if you like. And then outside scholarships for us will include the Craig Hernight Memorial and Arthur scholarships. Next slide.
At Emory and Henry College, 100% of our students do receive financial aid. All of our acceptance students are offered an academic merit scholarship that is based on GPA. The merit scholarship runs from $10,000 to $23,000 per year, and that's for all 4 years as long as you stay a full-time student and stay in good academic standing. We do offer a LIFT scholarship program that is need-based. These are for our Pell eligible students, and depending on where you fall need-based wise with Pell eligibility, we do offer that we cover up to 100% of tuition or a percentage of your tuition, depending on where you fall in the need-based range. The legacy grant is something we offer to our students if they have siblings, parents, or grandparents that have previously attended the college. We have various different performance and affinity groups. These groups offer scholarships, and they're either academic specific or co-curricular groups. Each of these groups do have a separate application to them, and there is also an audition or interview process that goes along with these scholarships. Next slide.
Back again. So in terms of financial aid at Mary Baldwin, there are a couple of things we do to make it as affordable as possible. So on the admissions side, we award merit-based scholarships. Next year, they'll range from $16,000 to $22,000 yearly. They're based off of academic criteria. So not related to the FAFSA at all, just that academic criteria. Then once a student files the FAFSA, we take that information with that merit scholarship information and create a financial aid package that's unique to you. So we have some need-based funding, which is what we call our MBU grants, and those go to students that have some portion of need. So our Pell eligible students, as well as students who may have some need but are not quite Pell eligible. We do try and fill in some of that gap to that piece as well. We also have some additional scholarship opportunities that are out there that you'll see and we'll kind of advertise for as we get into the spring semester if you have been accepted. There's some opportunities to interview for some scholarships, some that are performance-based, music, arts, things like that, that students are awarded as well. One of the other things that we've done to help keep that affordability piece there is we've not had a tuition increase since 2017. With everything going on in the world, we have just wanted to make sure that our current students could continue to have the affordable education piece, as well as our new students that are coming in. probably over 95% of our students receive financial aid or scholarships. If you apply to Mary Baldwin and you are admitted, you will have the option of a merit scholarship to help finance your education as well. And I'm hoping we can start getting financial aid packages sent out as early as next week. So we want to get those out to you as you're kind of going over and reviewing your decisions on what's going to be the best fit school for you. All right, next.
So I'm back again. So sometimes, you know, when you actually asked to be the first person, you forget some important key information, but I'll get back to that shortly. So at St. Andrews University, we have a variety of different scholarships that we actually offer to our students, from academic merit-based, so as low as a student who didn't do as well in high school, and didn't have the confidence or the support, but still maintained. Even if your GPA is low as, I want to say around 2.0, 2.5, you can still be eligible up to at least $2,000 in academic scholarship. Now, the better your GPA is, the more money that you would be able to get for merit scholarships. So the most that you can get roughly around $14,500 for merit. We do offer athletic scholarships as well. So we do have over 27 different sports where if you were interested in a sport, we actually have athletics scholarships as well. A part of athletics, we do have a strong equestrian program, and there's scholarship opportunities in the equestrian area too. We also, on top of your academic merit scholarships, there's an additional funding for our honors programs. We actually have a scholarship that's called Black Mountain, which sounds kind of weird, but it's basically, I would say it's more geared towards those students who love the outdoors, but would like to study and be more, not so confined to a classroom, but actually learn more about just being in your comfortable nature to actually be able to study. We are a liberal arts school, so we have from choir, theater, visual arts, creative writing scholarships, even bagpipes. So even if you don't know how to play a bagpipe, but you're interested and you're very good instrumentally, basically you could learn and possibly get scholarship money in that area. We have pre-vet, and then we also have different club organizations where you're able to receive scholarship money from DECA, HOSA, FHA, and then the 4-H club. Once again, I'm going to share with you, even though it's not on the screen, if you actually work at any local businesses, or if your parents are a part of a credit union, just different things where you're able to apply for scholarships, this is a great time for you to actually look into those opportunities and your parents' companies, or even your place of employment, to see if they offer scholarships. And yes, those scholarships actually can be applied towards your tuition. One of the things that a lot of our students in North Carolina actually look into is actually cfnc.org. And if you're in Virginia, you actually have the VTAG that you can actually look for Virginia tuition assistance in that area. If you're in New York or any other states, basically go to scholarship.com to look for additional scholarship information. Next. Next. If anyone has any questions, feel free to please take a screenshot of our email addresses that are listed here. We're available. I know I'm available, and I'm sure all of us are available because of everything going on. Most of us are still working from home. So basically we have that time to be able to address your questions without any interruptions. I do also want to share with you guys that I didn't say in the beginning is that please start doing your research as far as resources that you would be able to go to any of the colleges that we have on the panel today and see what funding that you're able to get, not only through your FAFSA, but just, again, look at your local insurance companies, all those different things you would be able to utilize your scholarship money if you're awarded the scholarships to be able to help attend school. Something else that I want to say that Tracy may have mentioned, or maybe it was Megan. This is really important as far as Pell Grant. Yes, it is free money, but I do want you to know, probably when I was in school, which was many, many moons ago, a lot of students used to get Pell Grant money and sometimes they did not finish school. Well, if the federal government offers you the Pell Grant money now and they give it to you, if you do not complete your degree, they will ask for their Pell Grant money back. But If you do complete your degree and you stay in school, the money is free and you do not have to pay it back. If you have any questions, feel free to hit us in the chat and we'll say the question out loud, and hopefully we can answer to the best of our knowledge.
Okay, well, it doesn't seem like we have any questions coming through. We'll give it another minute or two just to see if anything comes up.
Any of my representatives, do you have any questions or things that maybe someone doesn't want to answer or ask, and maybe you want to just throw it out there for a student?
I'll jump in. I know sometimes we have students that have different family circumstances and they're not entirely sure how to get the FAFSA filed. Maybe mom and dad are divorced, or you live with your grandma or an aunt or uncle, or your relationship with your parents is not good. And this is going to be just my general PSA, is to reach out to either your high school guidance counselor or to somebody in the financial aid offices at the schools that you're looking at and get some guidance. That's what we're here for. I work for Mary Baldwin University, but my goal is for you as a student to get where is the best fit for you and to help you get in that door as well. So if you call me, even if you decide not to come, I can help point you in the right direction for the FAFSA. And I know my colleagues feel the same in that instance as well. So if you're not sure, and sometimes it's really sensitive information that you're trying to get when you're trying to get those finances pieces, and it's hard when you're making that decision, call and ask some questions. We have heard everything under the sun in that piece and know that sometimes that'll prevent students from filing the FAFSA. Same thing if we have students that are dreamers or students who their parents may not be citizens, they may not be citizens of the United States yet. You can call and ask questions about that piece. Or if your parent doesn't have a social security number, what to do. There's all of these things that come up with the FAFSA, and the affordability piece is a huge part of that college decision-making process. And that's what we're here for, is to help kind of walk you through and guide you through that process. So I just want to encourage you to do that as well. So not necessarily a question, just a little PSA as you're filing the FAFSA. We want to make sure that you get those questions answered.
And I want to piggyback off of Megan. One of the benefits of going to a small private school is that you're going to get that one-on-one attention. We definitely personalize everything for our students, where sometimes at a bigger university, they may not even tell you that your FAFSA is due, or they may not even call and say that you're missing a document. They feel like it's your responsibility, and not knocking it, but our job is, like Megan said, we want you to feel a part of our families. And so therefore we take that extra mile to go out to make sure that you have everything that you need. She said, sometimes a parent may be scared to ask a question, but they may become comfortable with an individual that they've made contact with to reach out to that individual to ask for help. So please, please take advantage, if you are thinking about a small school, to get that assistance and that extra help, because we're here for you.
And I'm going to actually add on to Shannon when she mentioned about the Pell Grants. Sometimes you happen to pay those back. That's actually going to work the same way with your military benefits. I know a lot of people will say, I'm going to join the military because they're going to pay for my college 100%. I'm actually using mine, and that is true. The caveat is you have to finish your contract. So that means if you signed a 6-year enlistment term or a 3-year term, and a year and a half into that, you decided that the military probably wasn't the best route for you to go, if you start to use money for school, you're going to be responsible for paying those funds back. So again, the military is a great option, but just make sure that you're speaking with your VA representative and with the college of choice about how that's going to work in terms of payment, and if you will have to turn that payment back in if you don't finish the program. I mean, not the program, but don't finish your enlistment term.
And one thing I know is becoming probably super common, and I know, Megan, you probably see this a lot more, is what your family financial situation is right now is not what it was in 2019. So a lot of colleges are going to have extenuating circumstance appeals that you can actually look into. So if you know mom, dad, grandma, whoever is helping support you lost their job during all of this, definitely reach out to your admissions counselors, reach out to the financial aid office, because a lot of colleges do have that extenuating circumstance where they'll look at what's going on right now and can make adjustments to your financial aid, because, you know, obviously 2020 just doesn't look like what 2019 did.
And I'll add one more thing, sorry. I'll also include outside scholarships means you can look up, you can buy a book literally from the library or Google a scholarship. If you have red hair, if you have green eyes. So don't just limit yourself to looking at financial aid options, the military options. Open your world up to applying for any and everything that you think that you'll be able to apply for. A lot of schools will give first generation college students a discount or scholarship offer for that. So don't limit yourself. Google's everybody's friend. Google it up, or get a book from the library, but you can apply for any and everything that you want to.
Going off of that, one of the stories that I always tell my students, because I'm a big financial aid cheerleader, I've worked in financial aid before, is as a high school student, I applied for a athletic scholarship through my high school. It's a very small high school. I am not an athlete by any stretch of the imagination, but I got that scholarship because I was the only student who applied for it. So sometimes you may get a scholarship, especially in the local community, that you get it by default because nobody else applied.
That was what I was going to say, is look at your local scholarships. There are tons of scholarships that people don't do. Lots of people are going to apply online for scholarships, and it's hard right now in COVID because you're not going to community centers and stuff like that. But there are lots of little, even if the scholarship's $200, like she was saying, $200 is a book. I mean, five $200 scholarships is $1,000. It all kind of adds up in that piece. And I've seen students time and time again make those ends meet, fill in that gap and get that education because they took the time to apply for athletic scholarships, even though they weren't an athlete, or they took the time to kind of walk through those doors and see, and particularly within local communities, there's lots of small scholarships. I think Shannon mentioned credit unions, things like that have that money available that nobody applies for, and they just want to see somebody use it. You can be that somebody. You get to be that somebody that uses it. So jump in and try and get that piece. And you don't have to write 17 different scholarship essays. You can edit the same one and submit it. They don't care. This is not like high school where you have to write different papers. You can write a really good one and tweak it for each one of those and save yourself some time on that in the back end as well.
You guys may wonder why we're mentioning so much about research for scholarships. That's the key. I feel like if I would have known and had half of the resources that our students have now, this is the perfect time, because if you're studying from home, you're already on the computer. You already have the opportunity to not only to apply to schools, where if you were active and you were out and about, you probably would be involved in extracurricular activities, whether it's in drama or in sports, or actually even having to work to help support your family. Well, right now you have the ability to look for resources for you for school. And that's why we're sharing all this information. One of the key things I would say, again, going to a small school, because everybody's not equipped, even though you think you might be equipped for a big school. And most of the kids may say, most of you guys may say, I want to go to Duke or NC State. And then you find that just visiting maybe 5 or 6 smaller schools, that you feel like at home. You feel at home, and you realize that that's the environment and the ambiance that you want to be a part of. So yes, we are affordable for sure. Yes, we have that home feel for most of the schools, where you're going to know every single person, not every single person, but you're going to know the majority of your faculty and staff at the school, and even some of the people from other countries and other states. So being affordable and being able to find the resources, that's what, like I said, again, and I'll say it over again, that's what we're here for. And that's why we're sharing all the important information with you right now.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much. I am going to share a final screen just to give some final closing remarks. Okay, so thank you again for joining us today. When you close this window, there will be a link for a very quick 4-question survey. We'd really appreciate any feedback that you could provide. Also, this was just one of the many sessions being hosted, so please be sure to sign up for additional sessions at strivescan.com/Virginia. In about a week, you will be able to find this session's recording as well as other sessions recording at that same website. So thank you all so much. Take care, be healthy, and thank you so much. Bye.